Welcome back to God's Autobiography. I look like a mess, and that is alright. Um, Still in the early days of Arizona, trying to get everything figured out, trying to find out what my next job will be. I was hoping to go stop at the metal shop today, but it's a little further away than I thought, so I might have to go tomorrow when I can borrow a car. Um, if I get a bike, I can bike it. It's 9 miles. It would be my longest bike commute so far. It should take like 45 minutes, but it's a pretty flat state, so I think I got that. Could be a good challenge. But figured I'd go through, see if I can, off the cuff, remember how many jobs I've had, because I've had a shit ton of jobs. I don't know if I've had more or less than the average person. I don't know if everybody goes through a shit ton of jobs, but we'll start back pretty far. Some jobs I guess don't quite count. Others definitely do. Um, Aside from like just working with family here and there, doing like essentially chores for money, one of the first proper jobs I had was a dishwasher back in Cherry Valley, my hometown. The Alex and Nika's restaurant was this little restaurant in Cherry Valley. They had hired my sister a while back. She was washing dishes for them, and they knew about, I don't know, small town, everyone knows everyone. So they knew about me. They knew she had a little brother. Um, so I think it was in the summertime. I get a call one day at the house phone because I don't think we had cell phones yet, and Alex from Alex and Nika's calls, and he asked me or he asked if I'm home. They speak to me. It's kind of confusing. My mom's like, it's Alex from the restaurant, and he asked me. He's like, hey, I was wondering if you would like to be my dishwasher. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I recall my mom being like, you should have been more professional on the phone because you're talking to an employer. I was like, Mom, he called me. Like, he wants me to work there. I'm not eager to go wash dishes. I'll do it. But he called me. I'm not, like, I'm going to talk to him like a guy. Like, that's it. So that was my first job, just kind of landed in my lap. Um, from there, I kind of worked with family for the most part for a long time, for a few years. My father does construction. My stepfather does construction and also farm work. And his brother is a stonemason. So I spent several years doing roofing with my dad and my stepdad, building houses with both, some electrical work with both, a little bit of plumbing work with both. Did a shit ton of stonemasonry with my uncle Kurt. Did that for probably a couple summers, 2 or 3. Roofs are pretty scary. That was kind of rough. Chimney roofs, or doing chimneys on roofs was pretty scary. Kurt just always had really bad equipment. If I have time today, I'll talk about one of those. But I remember at one point I tried to get a job as a busboy in Cooperstown, Baseball Hall of Fame area, little popular place, and my hair was a bit longer at the time, but they told me that I'd have to take out my earring until it shrunk to nothing, remove my lip ring, and cut my hair short to look like everyone else. And I decided I'd keep doing physical labor. I'd make a little more money at the restaurant, but I could just be me, and I liked that idea better. So I stayed with construction. I think I was working with my stepdad at the time. From there, I moved on down to Long Island. And when I moved down here, it was because of tricking, because of the guys that I knew down here that tricked. I was going to go to school down here as well. Kind of, that all got fucked over for a little bit, but ended up staying. When we came down, my two buddies were already working at Gold Medal Gymnastics Center, which I mentioned in a different video. It's really funny that, right pretty much across the street from where Beastwood is on Long Island is where Gold Medal was when we used to work there, and I think that's really cool. But, so we start working at Gold Medal. I'm kind of like, I can do a backflip, can I have a job? And you don't need to know anything about gymnastics to teach recreational gymnastics, because it's really fucking easy. They teach you how to spot a back handspring, there you go. All the kids would ask me to demonstrate a back handspring, and I couldn't do it. So if like, oh, I'll show you one harder, I won't use my hands. Like, as if a back tuck's harder than a handspring, which it's not. So I worked there for a while. That kind of went off and on as I'd go home for a winter and summer break, come back to the gym. They didn't really like that so much, so they stopped taking me back. I get a little bit finicky with the order of all of these from here. I worked at a Lowe's, like the Home Depot kind of Lowe's, not the movie theater Lowe's. But I was in the garden section. I was in Plant Essentials was the company that I worked for. We were kind of like a subcontract or whatever. Essentially, my job was Plant Essentially was my job was to follow customers around when they picked up a plant and then decided in the next aisle, oh, I don't want that plant, I'd go put it back. So we would arrange the plants when they got off the truck, and then we'd clean the shop, and that was pretty much it. But that's I guess that's it in terms of what we were supposed to do as Plant Essentials employees. We were not supposed to help customers take shit out of their cars. We were not supposed to water the plants. We were not supposed to actually like design or decorate the areas. We were supposed to just put things where we were told. We weren't really supposed to help customers throughout the shop. We weren't supposed to help other employees if they're using like the forklift or anything. We weren't supposed to follow them and like be their spotter for the aisles. But we did all of it. We always had to do all of it because they didn't have enough people. We also weren't supposed to accept tips if we did help people out of their car. But since it wasn't my job to do it, and they were breaking the rules by having me do it, I'm not gonna say no if someone tries to give me money. Like, I just helped a little old lady put like 20 pounds, they weren't very much, 20-pound bags of mulch in their car, and she wanted to give me $1. I'm not gonna be a dick about it. I didn't like that job too much. So I got back into teaching gymnastics. I was at Spins. I was living really, really close, living with an ex of mine. I worked at Spins for a few years. It was decent. One of the bosses was garbage. Jody owned the gym. She's a blessing. This other guy didn't own the gym. He was miserable. So he's the reason I left early. I didn't plan on being there forever, but he's the reason I quit early. And I quit early also because I had an opportunity to go work at a martial arts studio, which I know I've been doing martial arts since I was like 8. It was great. I loved it. Worked there for a long time. Renchi kind of offered me, or not even kind of, like, he originally found me and saw me as a potential to open up a third location, which was huge. No one ever saw potential in me like that before. And I loved the opportunity. I liked working there. I loved training there. I have so much respect for that school and for Renchi himself. And it was just wild. He kept asking me, if I want money, what do I do? And he knew that money wasn't my goal, so he wanted me to know pretty much what I should not want to do, I guess. And it was odd that he kept bringing this up to me because I wasn't pursuing cars. I wasn't pursuing money, but I guess he could tell it was on my mind. Because the answer to that was, if I wanted money, I would stay. I was going to open up a third location. I was going to set up that career because the guy who ran their second location, he's doing pretty well. And I know I could do it. I know Renchi's good enough to teach me how to do it. I know that's what he saw in me. And it was really hard to leave, but he understood when I told him that I had to. I feel like he saw it coming. The guy's intuitive. He's crazy. So I found this job. It would have been pretty far out. Like, it would have been 60 hours of work and 10 hours of commute. So about 70 hours a week, always working nights. And I wouldn't have been able to train martial arts or tricks. I would have essentially just been a door-to-door salesman, just asking people if they want like window and door repair services. You could have made a bunch of money, but it just didn't seem ideal for my lifestyle. So like last minute, after I worked there for a day, last minute I was like, fuck this, I can't, or I won't do this. And Renchi asked me if I wanted to keep some hours at the dojo. He was willing to keep me working, which, again, another blessing. Fuck these trucks, dude. So I told him no. I respectfully declined. I said I needed that fire to be lit, and I kept going. I found a job at a Best Buy from there. I was selling appliances. I had applied to everything. When I got in for an interview, they're like, hey, so why did you apply for appliances? I was like, well, I applied for everything. You just happened to print out appliances. And this was right before Thanksgiving, so right before heavy season for them. Like, all right, well, if you go to computers and cameras, which is what I know more about, care more about, so we can give you like 14, 15 hours a week. If you go to appliances, we can give you 30 to 40. I'm like, well, we'll go to appliances. Appliances also made a better bonus, which didn't make any sense because I didn't have to do shit. The job was so fucking easy. But went to appliances, learned everything I needed to about appliances. Was pretty good at that job. Got a raise pretty early on. It was okay. Didn't love it. I hated that in the slow season I would spend several hours just waiting for a customer. Fucking terrible job. Didn't care about it at all. Had no passion in it. Had no interest in it. So I knew that was... Well, I always knew it was temporary when I got there, but it was very temporary. So I up and left after a pretty bad breakup and some sadness, inspiration. I decided to do what I've always wanted to do and go. It didn't matter where, just go. So I hit up some friends in Florida and Colorado, namely, and Colorado just had a good opportunity. So I'd mentioned this one before, where I went out to Colorado. I didn't get that Best Buy transfer job that they had kind of told me on the phone and then in person. So I worked a little bit at Jay's Valet, doing some valet parking. Mentioned that in a different video. And for the most part, I worked at Ross, a discount clothing store. Not great, but I stayed there until that building closed, and then I headed down to Arizona, where I am now. In Arizona, I looked for work. I couldn't find anything. I was teaching some martial arts classes with some kids down at a park just down the street. Hopefully, I can meet up with those kids again and start doing the same thing. That was just a volunteer thing. I didn't make any money from it. Well, I didn't plan to make any money from it. Made about $120 overall just from the parents giving me shit. I really appreciated that. It helped me stay alive while I was still here. And then I went off. There we go. I went back off to Long Island. It didn't take too long after getting to Long Island that I landed a job at a metal shop where I plan on going back. The shop was awesome. There's two guys, Carlo and Efren, that kind of run the shop. Mike is above them. He comes in, like if they need him, like if they need more hands in the shop, he comes in to do that. If not, he just kind of runs everything more business side, and there's still like one or two people above him. What the fuck? But a couple weeks into, rather a couple months into working there, Efren was going to go away on his 2 weeks of just summer vacation. And all of the work that he had been doing, minus one machine, they threw me in. They're like Jarrett had started that job a little bit before me. This guy Chris started a little bit before me, but had a broken hand, so he kind of left and came back right after me. There was another kid who hadn't been there for too long, but I seemed to be doing the best, and they put me in all of Efren's positions. So when that happened, I spoke to Mike. I said, hey, I was wondering if you would consider evaluating me for a raise. And he said, or like given like me taking over Efren's spot in this time. And he goes, oh no, you deserve that. And he just straight up, fucking mosquitoes, dude. Should have gave me the raise. He gave me $2 extra. I was making $18 an hour. And even before that, I think only about like 2 weeks in, I told them, like, they knew I was leaving at the end of summer. They told me as long as I can stay for summer, then I can have that job. And I told them 2 weeks in, I said, hey, I'm leaving for the summer, but I can come back after summer, but I can come back next summer if you're willing to take me. And he said, yeah, love it. So nailed it. Grabbed that. I'm going to have that job when I come back. When I left, he said, make sure you just let me know a month or two before you head back. And I've got, I'll have something for you. They want to teach me some welding. He wants me to get out on the field a bit. So if all goes well, I might go back to that job. I do have a buddy looking for a potential job for me in Cali, and I'm looking at some metal shops here as well as some more teaching positions. But yeah, that's longest video so far, and it's not one that I thought would be. But I'm almost certain I've forgotten maybe a bunch. There's a lot of like little things that I only did for a short little while that I didn't quite include, but yeah, I guess that's kind of my job log, my job history. And yeah, now we're off to finding what the next one will be. Let's go. God's Autobiography, Stephen French telling his life stories to nobody, episode 18. I am almost a fifth of the way through this, and season 2 is going to be dope. For no one that watches it, you might actually want to watch the next one.